Understanding the HRM role in MNCs from a social capital perspective. This was the topic, and by way of summary, I came to observe that before the research that there is a lack of coverage of vital issues regarding the HR function in the literature, such as 1. Why are HR departments organized and why? 2. What is the optimal way to organize the HR function? 3. What kind of activities take place within the daily work of the HR department? Do these correspond with formal HR structures and firm strategy? How do social capital as a resource influence the HR function? Now, to this point, we want to know what social capital as a resource. It means it refers to the gains that accrue from the links and informal relationships of people inside and outside the organization. It has 3 dimensions: structural, relational, and cognitive. The structural is the basis for the rest of the other aspects. The structural refers to the network of people you know in the company. So we can say how many people in the workplace that you have. You have 20, and it means structurally you have a network of 20 workmates who form the structural aspect of the social capital. Then down to the relational. Relational has to do with the personal relationships that we actually develop with each other through the history of our interactions within the company. Next is the cognitive, which refers to those resources that provide shared representations, interpretations, and systems of meaning among parties. That is language, culture, that we share with people who work with us in the company. Both primary and secondary research was conducted to answer the questions. And a conceptual framework by Evans and others, 2010, was adopted and applied in this study. What came out of it? That there appeared to be a connection between HR social capital and the actual activities of the HR organization. So after this summary, we want to now go straight to the research problems. So the research problems were in the form of these 2 questions. To what extent is the formal structure of the HR organization reflected in the actual activities of HR professionals? Yes, in other words, it is one thing to have the HR organization, but it's another thing to know if the HR professionals actually do the work that the function, the organization is formed to do. And secondly, to what extent are HR activities influenced by the level of social capital as a resource between the HR function and line management? So as you can see in the next one is the theoretical framework. So in the first, you'll see the HR formal structure. This is what most MNCs have. The formal structure is in these 3 ways, as founded by the literature. That content and process development, which has to do with policy formulation. The next one is service delivery, which has to do with the hiring of employees, career advice, and performance management, and others come under service delivery. Then the business support. And so these 3 form the HR functional structure. Now the next one is the HR resources. There are 3: organizational capital, human capital, and social capital. And for this study, the social capital resource was employed. So now we have the HR formal structure and the resources. The question wanted to address, the investigation of this project was to investigate if whether the daily activities of the HR professionals actually reflect the formal role that the HR function organization was formed. And the methods applied, as we observed earlier: primary, secondary data collected, triangulation technique was employed, semi-structured interview, 5 HR and 5 line managers, were interviewed to see how correlated their responses were. Yes. And so now, what the results and discussions, the finding was showed that the HR function was highly evaluated for administrative tasks. If you go back to the framework, service delivery, which is the traditional role of HR function, was very well evaluated. The HR department was commended, highly commended for this role. However, strong calls were made HR to increase their involvement with a particular focus on activities related to the business support role. In other words, the business support role is suffering. HR professionals were doing just the administrative work, but they were not contributing much to the business support, helping line management actively in caring for the business. Additionally, although strong formal linkages between the HR function and line management were evident, the level of informal relationships was weak between them. This came from line management, that now, though there was a policy within the company to involve, for HR professionals to get involved in the business support role, it was lacking. So everything was pushed, including HR and administrative tasks were pushed to the line management. So they suggested that HR should get involved in the business support role. Additionally, the practical indication for HR professionals is that careful consideration should be taken in observing how social capital resource between the HR function and the larger organization adds value. Yes, so you can see now these were the relevant references for your consumption later after the presentation. And now the conclusion is that there to be a connection between HR social capital and the actual activities of the HR organization. And so to round off, I want to say that since this was a qualitative research, further quantitative research is recommended to conclusively ascertain the linkage between social capital and the HR function and its impact. Thank you.